So if you're feeling unmotivated, it's probably not a discipline problem. It's probably an alignment problem. Recently, I had someone take the energetic frequency archetype quiz, and we ended up having a session on basically we took their archetype map. So energetic archetypes are your core essence, like who you naturally are to your core, like your soul blueprint, how you express energy, communicate with others. So the part of you that's adapted to then express your core. And we adapt from wounds, we adapt from different trauma as we were growing up. And then third is our stress patterns. So how we show up under stress. So that's kind of like the breakdown of your energetic archetypes. So there was someone who came to me and was feeling very unmotivated. And I talk more about this in my latest podcast on alignment isn't a feeling, it's a pattern. But just to kind of give you, I want to share with you there's 4 ways to know how you are in alignment with something. Because a lot of times we think it's just like, how does it feel? Follow the feeling. If it feels good, like we're in alignment. Well, not everything that feels good is in alignment with your goals, is in alignment with your values, right? So the first one isn't in alignment with your core essence, or I would say your primary energetic frequency archetype, your core, your primary one. This is something you don't have to force or try to be. This is just how you express in this lifetime. The second is your nervous system regulated? So does this person, does this job, does this thing, is this activating your nervous system, or is it calming and regulating to your nervous system? That's how you'll know it's in alignment. Number 3 are your standards being met, or are you adapting your standards to meet this person, to meet this particular role? And then number 4, do your actions actually are in alignment with what you want and what you value? So your actions are matching. So I'm not going to go through all of what this can look like today, but I wanted to give you one example that I shared recently, which is the person that came to me. They did their quiz. They came out as a radiant creator. So this has a fire type element. Fire follows energy, follows excitement, follows enthusiasm. And so this person had a pattern in their last job and in this job where they felt excited initially, but then all of a sudden they lost that excitement. They lost that motivation. And so they started to question, well, maybe it's the product. Maybe they were in sales. Maybe I just don't like what I'm selling. Well, it wasn't that. It was that when we really dug into what is it about their particular role that matches their energy and enthusiasm. Because once we identified their core archetype and knowing that they were primarily fire, well, then what about their role match that fire? Well, the energy of the actual sales consultation in person. And there were a lot of activities that led up to that, which were having to make calls to actually get them in person. Of course, all of the admin and the other tasks that go into it, entering things in your CRM system. Now, you're not always going to be able to be in your core essence 100% of the time in your job, right? Or 100% of the time in your relationship, but 80%, 75 to 80%, you should be operating from, especially in your work, your zone of genius, right? So for them, they weren't able to do that for not even 60%. A lot of their activities were not in alignment with their core essence. And so those activities were actually draining them. And then what was happening is they were distracting themselves when they were doing those activities, whether it was social media, whether it was somebody in the office needed help. Oh, I'll help you. Whether it was, oh, this phone call came in that was not work related. And of course, they took it because they're following what? They're following the energy. And so this is where self sabotage can come in. Sometimes we're not really aware of why we're sabotaging ourselves. And it's because we're not looking at what's in alignment with our core essence, our core archetype. And when we can pick relationships and careers that are more in alignment with that, that's just one out of the four, right? Key things. We're so much happier. We're so much more fulfilled. So with this person, we mapped out a couple other things in their life that they were following the energy. And then we found a solution to how they can be more in their core and delegate the activities that were not, that were draining them. Because when they were doing those activities, it was actually dysregulating to their nervous system, which is the second thing that tells you you're out of alignment. So I wanted to share that example, and I can share more in a future video. But for you, if you're currently in a situation where you're questioning your partner, the person you're in, the relationship you're in, or you're questioning something about your work, am I in the right job? Am I working with the right people? Should I be doing something else? What I wanted to emphasize out of those four things that I shared to let you know that you're in alignment is the first one is, does it match your core archetype? And if you're not sure what your core energetic archetype is, you can take the quiz for free. It'll be below in the description. Until next time.